the revolutionary ankle lock system, an integrated brace built into the boots, delivering unrivaled support, protecting ligaments from twists, tears, and trauma.
Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store, Our Kings Competitions. Eddie Hearn here in Orlando. Big fight week, how are you doing?
Doing fantastically well, thank you. Just done, 40 minutes with Carl McGuigan. So nice to actually sit down with a serious journalist like Matt Lenihan and actually, get some serious boxing topical conversations covered off rather than the usual stuff. Where'd you get your shirt? What's that you're wearing? You know what I mean? That sort of stuff. So, yeah, good to see you, mate.
I'm not sure I'm quite worthy of that title as a journalist, but look, let's just start here in Orlando. Interesting fight week. Yeah. Jordan Thompson, a long layoff after that loss, but he's jumping up to heavyweight against a guy with a seasoned amateur background in Pero. Where did this fight come from? I feel like it's a bit random.
I've got to be honest, this place, it's great here at the Caribou Royale. It's become a real hub for, they won't mind me saying it, our smaller shows, right? Because obviously it's not, a massive arena and stadium and all that kind of stuff, but it's become really important for the development of fighters and also advancing their careers. I mean, if you look at Lenihan Pero, who is a real dark horse of the heavyweight division, I mean, he's already WBA number 3 in the world at heavyweight. He's a huge talent from Cuba. He's never really fought anyone, but everyone knows how good this young man is. We need an opponent for him. So when Jordan Thompson fought Jai Opetaia, the reason that we took that fight with Opetaia there was a few reasons. Number one is because Jordan's a very good fighter, punches very, very hard. But number two, he just couldn't really make the weight anymore. So before we moved to heavyweight, he needed to make a few quid and needed to roll the dice, and we did that against Jai Opetaia. Came unstuck, got stopped in 3 or 4 rounds, moves up to heavyweight. Took some time out from boxing a little bit after that defeat, and then we started discussing the comeback, which probably traditionally would be an 8-rounder in the heavyweight division. And this opportunity arose to fight Pero. And we've actually been talking about this fight since the beginning of 2025. And it's like, if you can take the scalp of a number 3 in the heavyweight division and you don't think this guy is what people think he is, and he's quite inexperienced and he's never fought anyone of massive ability, roll the dice. And I think Jordan's going, you know what? If I beat this Pero, I'm going to stick myself in the top 3 in the world at heavyweight. So, fuck it, let's do it. And I'll tell you something about Jordan Thompson. One, he's an Adonis, right? Number 2, he can whack. He's got huge power. And at cruiserweight, he was boiling himself down to make the cruiserweight limit, and he was depleting, probably not just his power, but his resistance as well. So what you saw against, Opetaia is a pound-for-pound guy, but what you saw was just the resilience wasn't there under fire. If he can have that resilience he's going to be 240 to 250 pounds. That's nearly 50 pounds heavier than he was fighting at cruiserweight. And let me tell you, he's carved out stone. He's 6'6", absolutely ripped to shreds, and he can whack. If he hits you on the chin, you're going to know all about it. But he's going to need the resilience. And when you look at the Wardley's a great example of this. In the heavyweight division, you've got to be able to punch, and you've got to be able to take a shot, and you've got to be tough as fuck, and you've got to go through the trenches. If he's got that in him now, not just here, but here, up at the new weight, he's going to be a problem. But I like the fact it's going to be a fun fight. And, both guys got a lot to prove, to be honest.
Come back to this card in a minute. I want to ask you a bit about yourself, actually. Do you feel a bit reinvigorated? Because throughout the years, in the prime Hearn versus Warren, sort of them beef days where you're going back and forth and all that kind of stuff, it was more like us against the world kind of attitude. Things have become friendly, and look, it's great for business. But ever since Dana's wandered into boxing, I watched a few of your videos, and even without Dana saying anything, you're already going straight at him, down the neck. Does he give you a kick up the arse in a way?
Not a kick up the arse. Sometimes competition's really good, and it can change your direction in so many different ways, not just in your business but in life as well. So what I've noticed is that maybe over the last year, and I'm not even talking about from a show perspective or a work rate perspective, I'm even talking about physically within myself, just not getting lazy, but just, you know, you go through space where, you know, when you're really on it, and, you know, I've seen you running at the moment, and like, but I feel like, and don't take this the wrong way, Matt, because I'm in your bracket, right? I feel like when you're constantly battling to get in shape, or basically what I've always said about myself is to stay just fat rather than obese. This has been my challenge for like 3 decades. When you're on it, you feel really good, and you feel, this is why I'm always drumming physical exercise, because, like, as you know, like, you just feel so much better. But it's like something just clicks inside you with the Dana White stuff, where you go, yeah, fucking right, and I've got to get on this now. And it's like, and then but the whole of the other side of your life is on it as well. So it's given me, I wouldn't say it's given me a kick up the arse, I would say it's given me the spring in the step to go, yeah, because I never thought I'd take on Dana White in boxing.
You're always very cordial and respectful.
But I've been, and you know, he's not going to like what I say, because I will question his product, or I will question his views, because I'm passionate about boxing. You're never going to see me stand up and go, what's Dana White talking about Aspinall? You know, I mean, that he was knuckle deep in his eye. You know, it's like, yeah, it was, but it's not really but in boxing, you can't come into boxing when I've given most of my life to boxing, the business, and tell me that I don't think big enough and this and that. Like, what do you expect me to say? But you won't see me deviate from a calm persona. You'll see him deviate from a calm persona because he's not used to it. You know, you were talking about those rivalries. For nearly 20 years, I've had it with Warren, with Oscar, with Arum, with Ellaby, with all of these people, either talking shit about me, taking me on, criticising me, and I'm just used to it now. So when Dana comes in, I don't look at it as, like, I've not thought, I can't believe he's saying that. I'm thinking, yeah, let's fucking go. And I want to take on people like Dana, because he's brilliant at what he does, and they've built a huge business. They're all excellent at what they do, and it's a real challenge. It's not like, but it's one I know I can win in terms of my ability as a boxing promoter, because he's never going to be me in boxing. But guess what? I'll probably never be in MMA, because that's his passion and his bag, you know.
Did you feel threatened by his presence in boxing when you see the link up with Turki Al-Sheikh? Obviously Turki's worked with everyone, but when you see him balling in here and it's like, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're changing, or does it more annoy you when you see the stuff he's saying about the alterations? What is it?
It annoys me. I just question, like, you got to, you know, probably the one thing is if you listen to what I say about Dana White, the respect that I give him for what he's done is massive. I feel that there's been no respect given to what I've done and the time that I've put in terms of what I've done for the sport. Yep. And you know, that's why, you know, someone created that video the other day, like, well, I posted as if to say, what has he done? You know, he's talked about it. What has he done in the last 20 years? And it's like, this is like, that's like saying I've not done anything in the last, in my life. When you've given what I've given to the business and to the sport, I find that very disrespectful. Not to a point where I'm going to go, fuck you, don't, you know, but I just think, you're wrong. You're wrong. Like, so, but you also, I don't think these people like it when you bite back and you fire back. They don't like the criticism because they're not used to getting criticism. They've got a load of people around them that just say yes. And now all of a sudden, like, I don't think he's going to like it in boxing. Forget me. I play nice. There's a lot of people in boxing that don't play nice. And he's going to find that. And you've got to actually have the resilience to want to deal with that day in, day out. Because you imagine the aggravation. Like, people don't quite understand. It's like, it's a lot of aggravation. And you've got to get to a point where you just don't care anymore, which is actually a point I'm at now. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I care for the sport and the product, but I don't care for the criticism anymore. So it feels pretty nice. But it takes a long time. A long time.
When did you get to that point?
Maybe like...
After the Warren stuff stopped, was it kind of like...
Even before that, I never felt... Like, what Frank Warren is brilliant at, is putting you under the cosh, right? Brilliant. Like, he will... And I've seen that with Shalom, and I feel for him because I've been there myself, where he will... Like, he's brilliant at doing that. relentless in a way. But that builds brilliant resilience as well. And Frank Warren is unbelievably resilient in many different ways. But he's done that because he's been through it all. And I've been through it all now. You know, and the key to life is to keep putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, because then life becomes a little bit easier and you get used to dealing with stuff. I look at my dad sometimes and I think, nothing really, like, you could have the biggest problem in the world and go to my dad and he would make you feel like everything's absolutely fine. And that's just experience of life, you know? You've had so much aggravation, you've had so many problems on different areas, everything's solvable. And, you know, that is, you always know that no matter how bad your day is, you're going to get through it, aren't you? I mean, that's the reality. And that's how he looks at things. And, you know, I just think maybe, you know, from a time perspective, I don't know, a few years ago, but just get to a point where you go, I'm not actually bothered anymore what you say. But for a long time, when you first start and you've got legal letters pinging in left, right and centre, suing you for this, suing you for that, and it's like, it makes you go, I don't know if I want to do this, because it's an horrible business. But then you become a little bit warped and sick yourself, and that's really what happened to me. And you just, it makes you feel like you've got to be a certain type of individual to like this life. Do you know what I mean? Like, and unfortunately, I'm one of those fuckers.
Well, look, moving on, I want to ask you about Eubank Jr.'s comments saw him make a week or so ago on the ring, when he was talking about the contract. He says, you know, the final contract for this fight hasn't actually even been agreed on. He says there are certain parts of the contract that are still up for negotiation. I'm not going to go into what parts of the contract they are, but we are in negotiations for certain things, so it's up to me and my team to deal with that. What's to be done?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't comment because his contract's not with me. His contract's with Seller and Riyadh season. So we have a contract with Seller and Riyadh season. We know the exact stipulations of this fight because we've already signed it and we've already agreed to them. Now, I don't know whether he's got a different contract or whatever, but, you know, I don't think that... One thing I know for a fact is that this is a £160 fight, and there's a rehydration clause as well. Now,
Same as last time?
Yes. Now, the penalties of those, I don't know whether he does his own deal with Seller or none of our business. I know what our penalties are. We've signed a contract. So, you know, I think that I don't often feel sorry for His Excellency and Seller. I do in negotiating a contract with Chris Eubank Jr. So good luck. We'll see you at Tottenham.
Why do you feel sorry?
Because he's a pain in the fucking arse, and you know, it's not, you know, he's just impossible to deal with, and he has this air of, well, not, it's not even an air of arrogance that he thinks he can do or say whatever, you know. And I know he makes loads of accusations towards us, but he's not easy to deal with, and you know, he makes a lot of criticism without sometimes looking in the mirror, but it is what it is.
Certain accusations, I think we know what we're coming to, have they been rectified? Because are you dealing with that because of the comments?
Absolutely. And listen, Chris is just so stubborn, you know, and it'll all come out what's happened behind the scenes. But for me, you know, you can't even have a conversation with this guy because he's, you know, any normal human would go, I shouldn't have said that. It's not actually true. But it depends how much you care for something. Now, unfortunately, when he calls me a scumbag or when he calls me this and that, like I said earlier, it is what it is, mate. If that's how you want to be as an individual, no problem. When you make accusations like that about fighter safety, and yeah, I find it like it's very unusual for me to respond in this way, but that's how much I care about my reputation and the safety of the fighters and the reputation of our business. So unfortunately, you've just got two stubborn individuals. Me stubborn because I won't have someone say that, and him stubborn because he doesn't have it in him to go, Eddie Hearn, you're a prick. But yes, I shouldn't have said that. And unfortunately, that would have cleared up the situation. But because of his stubbornness, so therefore you have to keep going. get to a point where it's going to get really expensive for everyone, but, you know, he probably won't back down and we'll end up in a right chunky financial mess. Someone will, but you know, it's just I find it quite sad. To be honest, I find the whole thing, he's got this, this real sort of chip on his shoulder about the industry and us
Well, you're not allowed to talk anymore.
Yeah, but look, that's, you know, sometimes that's, at the end of the day, it's quite amusing. Like, that's good, but there's personal stuff that, like, and I don't like what he said, and, you know, but I know there's people around me, his team members have reached out to me to say, come on, how are we going to result? And I say, it's quite simple. You just have to say you were wrong. But he can't bring it, you know, like any normal human would just go, all right. And I don't care how you dress it up. You can call me a prick, but you have to apologise for what you said, and you have to tell people it's not true, because it's not true. And, you know, when you you double down on those comments and you go to IFL and you say, you know, if I was in a more serious condition, I could have lost my life because of what they did to me. Fuck that. No. You know? So that just comes down to principles of what matters to you. And what matters to you might be different to what matters to me, and certainly what matters to him. But listen, let's just have a great fight on November 15th, and we hope that everybody is safe.
A few more from me. Jaron Boots Ennis, obviously a spectacular performance last time out. What we're looking at next, is that the reason you've took the position with the Josh Kelly fight? Do you look at the angle there and go, winner of that goes to Boots? Because the Virgil Ortiz fight, everyone thought was done, but then you said, no, look, nothing's quite done. We verbally agreed.
At the end of the day, we want to fight Virgil Ortiz. We can't make Virgil Ortiz fight Boots. We were told that fight's happening. If they want a U-turn and they don't want that fight, myself and Boots, we will be in Dallas for that fight with Lubin, because we're chasing the fight and we want it publicly known. Like, we're going to that fight to get the winner of that fight. But we also want to win the World Championships. My interest in Mertzalayev against Josh Kelly, which is a deal that I've agreed with Louis DeCubas and Kathy Duva, I like the fight. It's a Brit against a real serious world champion in a great fight. That's the reason I like that fight. Would I like the winner of that fight to fight Boots? Of course. But I like the fight on our schedule.
So what's Josh Kelly doing moving forward? Have you got promotional agreement with him? Because this didn't go to purse bids, but I thought it was with a Wasserman fight.
I do a lot of business with Louis DeCubas. He's never done me wrong. And we did a deal with Kathy Duva, main events, Aegis Klimas, and the deal has been made. So we're tying up the contractual stuff now, and that's you know, what we do with Josh Kelly. Beyond that, yeah, I mean, I'd love to be involved with Josh. And, you know, it's a very tough fight, but it's one that Adam Booth and Josh Kelly think they can win.
Mayweather Pacquiao, speaking to Dan Raphael on this the other week, and he, in his own words, said, I'd rather set myself on fire than watch this happen all over again.
Pacquiao Mayweather.
Yeah. When you hear that, apparently it is in talks from a few people, and Netflix are looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, setting yourself on fire rather than watching that was a bit strong from Dan. But I don't know. I think that it's. I've got to be honest. Mayweather Pacquiao does absolutely nothing for me. What's the 48, 49 years old? Like, but who am I? I'm just one punter. You know? So I'm a promoter, but I'm just a fan in that situation. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm just, for me, it's not something like, it's a bit like Jake Paul against Tank. I mean, is that really getting any momentum? Like,
are you going to be watching that?
Probably be late, wouldn't it? I mean, we've got Eubank Ben the next day, and it'll be in the early hours, or will it be? I don't know. Probably.
Netflix, huge audience.
What time? What time is it on? I don't know. But I'm not. No, I wouldn't sit up till 3 or 4 in the morning to watch Jake Paul against Tank. Would I wake up and wonder what happened? Yeah, and I get it. Like there is, I guess, a little bit of curiosity as to what happens in that fight, but I'm a massive fight fan. I love boxing. Like, give me Wardley Parker. Loved it. Not my show. Loved it. Loved that fight.
What do you make of the stoppage of that?
I thought the stoppage was early, but you can't sit on the ropes and allow someone to tee off on you when you're hurt, because he was definitely hurt, but he was riding shots well. Not a lot was landing heavy and clean. But at the same time, like, people make good comments, like, I mean, even John Fury and people like that. Rather one too few than one too many, and you get hit clean on the chin at that point, maybe your career's over. But you, as Joe Parker, you cannot sit on the ropes. Even if you're catching and, but you're not catching and countering, you're just catching and rolling. So for me, I also think Fabio Wardley was probably 10 seconds away from emptying his own tank. Being up in the fight, being Joe Parker, having the experience, I think it was an early stoppage. But you can't. You've got to hold. You've got to throw back. And the fact that he didn't do that, I can't really criticise the stoppage, even though I think you'd expect some cleaner stuff to land. Do you know what? It's a bit like the Froch Groves stoppage, if I'm honest. Like, no, but it was like Groves was badly hurt, but he was, in my opinion, he should have been allowed to continue at that point.
Have I ever heard you say that? No, I don't think I've ever heard you say that.
Listen, but same as what I say for the Parker fight. I think that they were similar. Can you criticise the stoppage? I think Carl Froch would have knocked George Groves' spark out in that fight, right? But in a fight that he was up in a world championship fight, is there an argument that George Groves should have been allowed to continue in that fight? Honestly, probably yes. Was it a diabolical stoppage? No. Was the Parker fight a diabolical stoppage? No. But, I see the arguments in both, and I think probably on reflection, if you're being really critical, maybe there should have been a few more seconds. But again, a few more seconds can lead to a terrible knockout, and that's, that we never want to see that.
Last one from me. We're not going to talk about schedules for next year, but the schedule towards the run to the end of the year. You've got Monaco, you've got an interesting card in Stockton. Yeah. I'd never thought you'd do a card out there, but it's a good run. Are you pleased with what's coming up? Ben Whittaker as well?
We've got an amazing run coming up. Obviously, we've got Orlando this weekend. We've got Ben Eubank November the 15th. The card in Saudi on November 22nd, incredible, with Bam unifying as well. November 29, the return of Ben Whittaker. Cameron Vong against Gavin Gwynn. Great card in Birmingham. December 6th in Monaco. Best card we've ever done in Monaco by a mile. Masoud against McGraw. I was trying to get, all right, calm, I know, slip of the tongue, wanker. Conor Walker against McCormack. Another great fight. Beatrice Ferreira against Elif Turhan. Unbelievable fight. Johnny Fisher back as well. December 13 in Stockton is a banger. Diego Pacheco against Sergio. Joe Caldina against Gabe Flores as well. Tito Mercado back. Sky Nicholson in a really tough fight as well. Great card in Stockton. December 20, there will be another announcement for a show coming up.
AJ announcement soon?
No, but we will be somewhere in December 20th. And then December 27th we'll be in Saudi for the Japanese card that we'll be promoting over there. So on we go. Look,
we'll catch up tomorrow. I appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.
The revolutionary ankle lock system, an integrated brace built into the boots, delivering unrivaled support, protecting ligaments from twists, tears, and trauma.